Hi everyone, so today I'm going to talk about 5 techniques that pianists actually mostly don't talk about and that some teachers also don't talk about, and that makes a difference between professional performance and amateur performance. That's what probably is keeping you staying on an amateur level. Stay tuned because the last one, the number 5, is one that Liszt himself used, that I got from my teacher. He got it from his teacher, who got it from Marie-Jaël, which is a student of Liszt who studied with Liszt for a while. So first thing important if you want to get a high level in what you're practicing is practicing slow. There is a famous video of Itzhak Perlman saying you must practice slow. Now people don't always get it what it means to practice slow. Mostly when they practice slow they think they practice slow, but actually they are practicing a medium tempo. And why is this important? Because when you play very slow, you need to know every note what's coming and you cannot count on reflex anymore. So reflexes are important, but mostly reflexes fade, and for this you need these things, this strong control, and to have this strong control you need to practice slow. Also, actually it's reinforcing the reflex because when you actually are doing the reflex in slow motion, so you are like conditioning the reflex. So let me give you an example of this. So practicing slow means, for example, I will take examples in stuff I'm practicing, right? I'm practicing the Liszt etudes. So for example, if I would practice number 1, even if I know the piece, I will go back to this kind of speed, and this is actually maybe even a medium tempo because I know the piece. If I would start the piece or some more difficult places, technically when you have difficult places you would go to even slower, for example. And this I would do again because when you also go slow you feel some stuff don't work so much or you're not so relaxed. You need to be completely relaxed and mastering the slow speed in order to be able to go fast later. Fast mostly comes alone, you don't have to push it. Second thing is memorize your piece, because when you memorize your piece, there are two stuff. It's like in both ways. If you memorize it, you need to repeat it a certain amount of time before you memorize it, and this is making you practicing it, right? And you need to repeat it enough before you memorize it, or if you want to memorize it quicker, you need to analyze it and to understand how it works in order to memorize it, and this helps you also to know it better and to be able to play it better. But it's also the other way around. If you memorize the thing, you can focus on other stuff. You don't have to focus on which note is coming, which fingering is there. If this is all memorized and integrated and it's a reflex, you can focus actually on music, like on trying to do other stuff than just being busy with notes and rhythm. You see, I'm practicing the stuff and I can focus on my finger, on the feelings, and I don't have to look at the notes. Now, I'm always practicing with the score there because as soon as I forget something, I'm looking back and I re-memorize it, right? You don't want to lose time searching 10 minutes what you have to play. You look back, you memorize the notes, also you have the graphic again visually in your head, and you know, okay, actually I forgot. Let's take an example actually. I don't really know how to start this place where the left hand starts, this exactly here. Is it this one? Yeah. Now here I have a doubt. I'm not sure if it's starting. Exactly. So that's actually, I already squared because I was confusing. I thought it's not this, it's this, and then it goes back. So then what I just did now is actually referring to the number 4 where I said practice efficiently. So I would not start always from there if I have a problem here. I would start a bit before, and this pushed me also to know this part really well. Because it's raising questions. How does the left hand start? Like this, and then like this, right? And it's first this and then this. And then you do it 2-3 times. And then slower. Exactly. Number 3 is called, I would call it leave the piece rest for a while. Like most of pieces you will practice, if it's your level or a bit above your level, you will probably not reach a satisfactory level in the piece. So you need to stop the piece for a while, leave it for some month on the side, not play it anymore, and don't be scared to forget it. It's fine to forget it. You relearn it, and you will relearn it quicker, and you will get to another level. So stopping and starting over a piece like this can bring you to a very high level, which probably, if you spend 1 year pushing the piece all the time, you're probably like plateauing on a certain level, and you are also exhausting your motivation, right? You lose motivation, you lose freshness and everything. So stopping a piece for a while and starting over even a year later, your level will be a bit higher, because meanwhile you practice other pieces that rise your level, and then you have a fresh view on it, and then you can get to a next level. I did this with many pieces that I practice on 10 years, and every year or every 2 years I'm practicing it again, and it gets always easier, and I get always more relaxed in the piece. It makes more sense. I understand the music much better. And side note on this one, also practice other pieces of the composer and listen to other pieces of the composer. This helps you understand the language of the composer. Practicing other pieces of the composer helps you to understand this finger technique he had, and helps you to play the first piece you wanted to learn better. So leave the piece, digest. Take another example. These pieces, now I'm a bit slow with learning pieces, and I'm teaching a lot also, so I don't have a lot of time to practice. That's another reason why I'm a bit slow, and I'm generally also slow learning pieces. I take my time. These pieces, I'm a bit ashamed to say it, but I'm working on this since over 10 years, but because I'm not working always on it. So I practiced some etudes to a certain level, then I left them, then I took them back later, tried to get it to another level, then I left them again. Meanwhile, I was learning another one or other pieces, and then I came back to it, and I tried to finally have it to a high level. And I'm now, after 10, 15 years, soon done having them all on a very high level, to the level where I can record them. But it took me 10, 15 years. The first etude I learned was Chasse-Neige, was even in 2004 maybe. So that's 20 years ago, right? So I started the first etude 20 years ago, and now 20 years later I'm done playing them. I mean, I finally getting to the level where I'm happy about what I'm doing a bit. And, well, more or less happy about what I'm doing, because it's an endless process. I will probably keep practicing this stuff until the end of my life, and always trying to get more relaxed, a better understanding, make more music out of it, etc. Number 4 is practice efficiently. And actually that's something I think most teachers don't really say enough, and most students don't do. Typically, beginners, they play something, they make a mistake, and they start from the beginning. They make the same mistake, they start from the beginning, and they do this 20 times over, and nothing changes, right? And they hope it will suddenly get better by accident. But that's losing time, right? So typically when I practice our professionals, we actually almost never play the piece from the beginning to the end, or just sometimes to check if it's working, or if there is something, like to have an overview of the piece. But typically you always starts with the difficult places, and you practice chunks, so like 2 bars or a line, or even 1 bar at a time if it's very difficult, or left and right separated if it's very difficult, and go and build up like this, like start 1 hand, then 2 hands, then 1 bar, then 2 bars, then 4 bars, and then sometimes you have to go back, do again 1 bar, or do again 1 hand, because you forgot a bit how 1 hand was working, etc. So mostly when I go sit at the piano and I start practicing, I know which piece I have to start with. I know the difficult places of the pieces. For example, Follet, when I sit, I know I start where it's difficult, and I start slow, and I do 2 bars, I repeat it 3 times, then I do the 4 next one that are difficult too, then I do exercise in it, and then etc. So I have a strategy where I practice. I don't play the piece. Then sometimes when I'm tired or don't want to practice, I play the piece through, but slow. And then we come back to the first one, practice slow, right? So I play the piece very slowly, try to be conscious of every movement, feel if everything is right and relaxed. So that's one of the most important stuff too, is practice efficiently. So practice efficiently, like I said, to take this example, when I sit at the piano and think, okay, I will practice a bit etude number 5, I'm starting here. And then I go back to right hand. So there, I must say, I didn't practice the left hand since a long time, so I forgot a bit the left hand, so I just had to relearn it again. And now both hands. And then if I would practice this for a while, my right hand would get tired, and then I would go to another place that I know I have to practice. And actually this is on the limit of being too fast because I don't really control it. And then the very last one, number 5, as I said, is one, my teacher, Van den Eyden in Brussels, his teacher was Del Pueyo. He had lessons, I think, with someone, is getting far, who had lessons with Marie-Jaël. Marie-Jaël is actually a woman that took lessons with Liszt. She was a pianist and pedagogue, and she wanted to write a method to learn piano. So she asked Liszt a lot of questions, how he was practicing and how he did stuff. So basically, no, I like this. What she said, you have to believe, right? We cannot go verify if Liszt really did this. So, but basically, this group technique. So playing stuff in groups in order to increase speed and control. And it's very important to understand the distinction between this group technique and rhythm technique, which is not the same. Rhythm is less efficient, in my opinion. I tried it, and my teacher said the same. Rhythm exercise, doing rhythm in a difficult stuff, of course, will help a bit because you are practicing the thing, so you will make some progress, but it's less efficient than this group technique. So I will show you this stuff on the piano. A difficult one to learn because you think you get it, but you need years before you really get these techniques. I'm not exaggerating. It took me a while also I didn't believe in the beginning that this would help, and I thought like this is so much work. I would just practice like I always do, I repeat it, right? But until I really was pushed to do it 100%, and then I really saw the results in the Liszt concerto. I did it. I saw the results. It was helping me. It was getting so crazy, the speed and the control I had in stuff, that I thought, okay, that's really the technique you have to do. But it's very difficult to apply everywhere because you need to understand it very well. So the principle is you do groups. The smallest to start, groups of 2, then later groups of 4, then groups of 8, and then at the end you have the whole passage you want to have, right? And if the rhythm asks it, sometimes you need to go to groups of 3, groups of 6, or groups of 12. Depends of what you have, if you have 4/16 or if you have triplets or stuff like this. So again, to take this example, for me the most difficult place in the whole etudes is this place here. So I will show you how I'm practicing this since years, and I'm still not at the speed I should be because I want to have at least 100, what is it again? Let's say here 120, 126, so I'm even not there. So the difficult thing, it's more easy in stuff like it's more easy in stuff like this, but let's take this example here. You do groups of 2 and you don't want to move your wrist here. You don't want to do this, right? You want to have the movement you will use at the end at speed. So at the end you don't have time to do this staccato movement, right? So you need to practice this like this. Only finger movement. And actually I should try not to move in between either. And then other stuff that's very important is to make an accent on the first one. Because that's where the accent will be at the end, right? You need to train your fingers to know where it should be strong and where not. So this you would repeat, and then also, important stuff, you have to hold the last note. So you have to hold this one before you start the next one. Because that's where you come from when you go fast. You come from there and you go back to this, right? So if you go and you start again, you are creating again a movement you don't have in the speed, right? You will notice when you practice like this that you don't know the notes. So you have to relearn the notes. And it needs a lot of patience. And you need to repeat this until this accent gets strong. Also, don't go too fast between the groups. Always try to think about the next. I just realized that I did this group work, but I didn't too impatient and I did it too fast. I didn't do like this, like I'm explaining now. So I will go back to practice this like this. So you do this a lot until these groups of 2 are mastered. Then you go to groups of 4. So this looks easy now because I have practiced this a lot, but in the beginning it's very difficult to get the group of 4. You make mistake everywhere, you forget the fingerings. That's normal, that's part of the practicing. So to make it short, if you manage the groups of 4 again with an accent on the first of the 4, and you hold it, you wait, you prepare the next one. And then I just realized again I forgot the notes, sorry. Etc. And then you try to increase the speed of the 4 and still have a break in between. You see, I'm getting already impatient and I go faster, which is not good. So yes, like I said, that's very difficult to practice like this. And apparently Liszt use this technique to practice, and I can guarantee you, I swear on everything I learned. I did the scherzo, for example, of Chopin. I learned places like this. It changed. It was like amazing. And I did the first Liszt piano concerto with this technique, and there were like places that were like so easy and so fast and so clean. It's magic if you do this stuff until the end and if you insist. And then, of course, you have to go back to the groups of 2 if you still don't get it, and back to the groups of 4, and do this whole work over and over again until you get it. And you will see it gets way stronger. And you have the feeling it will last forever, do this work, but you will get to the result quicker than if you just play it or if you just do groups. Because again, if you do rhythm, sorry. Because if you do rhythm like... or... You are not really having this accent on the first note, which is important, and you don't. You are a bit passive. You like, and having an accent on will not. It's actually not necessary to have an accent on the second note, right? So that's why rhythms are not so efficient in this. So then you will go to group of 8. And also what you can do is repeat a group several times. For example, I realized that the first time I don't get this one. So I'm repeating it until I have it. So thank you for watching. Yeah, as I said secret. Of course, it's for clickbait, and I also said secret because Like I said, some teachers don't talk about this. It's not always known, and if it's known, sometimes it's forgotten that you have to do this. But for sure, try these 5 stuff. It will make you will make progress if you do them correctly. If you have any other secret to practice, to get better at practicing, let me know in the comments. And if you have questions or reactions on what I just said, let me know in the comments. So I hope this video was helping. Looking forward for the next video. See you. Bye bye.